Yes, sir, I can see the slides.
Okay. We have solved this example last time 2.4, I believe.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, तो आज हमने यहाँ से स्टार्ट करना है डिजाइन प्रोसीजर।
सर लास्ट टाइम ये 2.4 डिस्कस की थी हमने, उससे
हाँ जी,
आगे
मैं
से
समझ
करना
गया। हाँ जी, बस ठीक हो गया।
सर एक स्टूडेंट है, वो कह रहा था कि मुझे सर ने अभी तक ऐड नहीं किया रिपीटर एज 2017 सेशन सिविल 93। उसकी सर मैंने ईमेल आपको व्हाट्सएप पे सेंड की थी।
अच्छा, अभी मैं 1 मिनट में कर देता हूँ, ठीक है।
ओके सर,
होल्ड
थैंक
करो,
यू।
अभी मैं अभी कर शेयर दिस स्लाइड। Okay, once again, let me know if you can see the slides here only.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let me start the recording. Okay, one thing more. I have shared the links of recorded lecture, video recording. So have you got that links? All class? Yeah, respond.
सर वो MS टीम्स के ऊपर आपने शेयर किए हुए हैं आई थिंक।
हाँ जी, MS टीम पे ना वो मैंने लिंक शेयर किए हुए हैं। उस लिंक से आप जो ना वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग जो है लेक्चर की हमारी, वो डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। एंड दिस वीडियो लिंक, जो लिंक विल एक्सपायर आफ्टर 1 मंथ, ठीक है। उसकी मैंने एक्सपायरी लिमिट सेट की हुई है। सो ट्राई टू डाउनलोड द लेक्चर विद इन 30 डेज। तो एक्सपायरी डेट इज मे बी November 30th। तो प्लीज ट्राई टू
ओके
डाउनलोड द लेक्चर।
ओके सर।
ठीक,
सर वो क्लास की जो हमारी जो लाइव क्लास है इसी की रिकॉर्डिंग है ना?
हाँ, इसी की रिकॉर्डिंग है। हो सकता
ओके
है
सर।
कुछ, मुझे याद नहीं, मैंने कुछ सेक्शन डी के भी कर दिए हैं, लेकिन आप उसको कट कर सकते हो, ठीक है।
ओके सर।
मोस्टली वो टेंशन मेंबर के हैं। इंट्रोडक्टरी लेक्चर के वो मैं रिकॉर्डिंग करना भूल गया कुछ लेक्चर्स की, तो वो नहीं है, लेकिन जितनी भी अवेलेबल रिकॉर्डिंग्स होंगी वो मैं सारी ही सेंड कर दूंगा, ठीक है। आप उसको
ओके
एडिट
सर।
वगैरह कर सकते हैं बाद में,
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
ठीक है। ओके, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। So dear student, today inshallah we will discuss the design procedure for the tension member design. So last time we have learned that how to analyze already designed tension member, or how to determine the capacity. So it means that we may determine the capacity by considering yielding failure or rupture failure. If the connection detail is given, so we can also determine the capacity against block shear failure. So this design procedure or design flow, I have already explained in the introductory lecture, but here I will give you the overview again. So actually, when we want to design any particular member, especially here in this case, tension member, so what information or data is given, we need to check. So first of all, we might be given the dead load and live load. So here I have used the symbol T. So T describes the dead load in tension and live load in tension. So if we are designing the compression member, so we may use any other symbol, might be P or movement for bending case. So just it is differentiate the tension member from other member, so that we may know that we are actually designing tension member. So similarly, we may consider the wind load. Just like in the design classes, I have explained that how to consider wind load. Maybe today in the design class, I will further explain how to determine wind load, live load, and dead load acting on any particular tension member. So the length of the member is also known. So these are the given data or known information. So we might be given service load. So actually here in this case, this TD and TD, these are service load which are not multiplied with any factor of safety. So another information that I have missed here, we also know the material data or material properties. So what type of the material strength we are going to use to design some particular tension member. So unknown is the cross section area, So knowing the service load, what we do, if we want to proceed for the LRFD design, so we convert the service load into factored load, TU. So TA is the service load, total service load. That might be the summation of simply dead load and live load, or if we want to consider the wind load without multiplying any component of the load with factor of safety. But if we want to uh, determine the factor load, so for example, here we are having a load combination which is referred as gravity load combination. Gravity load combination means that we are not considering wind load here. So if there is no wind load and a lateral load, so usually we design our most of the structural component for gravity load combination. So in gravity load combination, we determine the factor load multiplying dead load with factor of overloading factor 1.2 and live load by multiplying with overloading factor 1.6. So just like in the previous classes, I have explained that in LRFD, we use different factor of safety with different type of the load to make the design more realistic. So after knowing the factor load, uh, I already explained we are having, if we are proceeding toward LRFD design, so we equate the factor load with capacity of the member. So the capacity of the member should be more than or equal to the factor load. So here we have derived this equation. So you can say that, so we determine the area. So this is the factor load. So this is 0.9 Fy. If we dividing the factor load by 0.95 by considering the yielding criteria, so you can say that TU is equal to 0.9 Fy and gross area. So gross area is unknown. So if we are dividing the factor load by zero point 0.9 Fy, zero point 0.9 is the strength reduction factor for yielding criteria in tension member design, and Fy is yield strength of material. So we are multiplying the tension or tensile load with 1000 just to convert into Newton. So we can determine one area from yielding criteria, and we also need to determine one area from fracture criteria. So here you can see that Tu is equal to phi t Tn in rupture, and phi t Tn is equal to 0.75 Fu into effective area. So if we multiply the effective area with U, so we can convert into net area. And then if we further multiply net area with R, we can convert into gross area. Because actually we want to determine the area of cross section without punching the hole. So R is the factor to convert net area into gross area, and U is the factor to convert effective area into net area. So here we can determine two area, one from yielding failure criteria and one by equating the capacity in rupture with factor load. So here actually before designing we do not know connection details. Connection detail means that connections are designed after the design of tension member is completed. So it means that we do not know that how many hole will be punched in the section and what would be the diameter of hole. So we just assume that R is value will be less than 1. So it is the gross area reduction factor, or it is a factor which convert the gross area into net area. So we need to assume certain suitable value, maybe zero point 0.8 or 0.85, depending upon the load. So normally we assume any value 0.8 or 0.9. Code says that we should not assume this value less than 0.8. So the minimum value that we can assume this value is zero point 0.8. So zero point 0.8 we are assuming that after punching hole, so net area will become 80% of gross area. But at the end in connection detail we need to check whether net area is more than 80% of gross area or not. So U value, it can also be assumed at the start of design, or if we know the type of the section, so we can assume U value and R value to initiate the design phase. But after designing of connection, we need to satisfy whatever the value we have assumed. We need to make sure that efficiency should be more than assumed value, and R value should also be more than assumed value. So out of these two equations, we can determine area required, which will be minimum area required to satisfy or to avoid the rupture failure and also to avoid yielding failure. So area required will be the larger value that we obtain out of these two expressions. So similarly, if you want to proceed ASD, so in ASD, we just you divide the you can say that we use in allowable stress design, we use service load, and then we divide the material strength by factor of safety 1.67. So 1.67, if it is coming on the top, it becomes 1.67 multiplied by 1000. So similarly, in rupture criteria, we use factor of safety 2. But actually, most of the time, we are considering LRFP design aid. But anyhow, in the field, if you need to carry out design by using ASD procedure, so then these will be the equations. So allowable stress design will be 50% of FU in case of rupture criteria and 60% of FY. Or in other words, factor of safety is used 1.67 in yielding failure, or factor of safety 2 is used in rupture failure in ASD. Okay, here I have written these two equations again. So we can determine where our value can be. So let me bring. So R where any reasonable assume, we can assume any reasonable U and R value. So I told you that U value, R value should not be less than 0.8. So if minimum value R is will be 0.8 as per specified by the code, and U value we assume normally 0.8 to 0.85 depending upon case. So when we are solving the example, so I will give you the idea that what U value we need to consider. For welded case, in case of if we want to weld member with another member or with the gusset plate, then in that case we are actually not punching. Uh, we are not punching hole. So if we are not punching the hole, it means that we are not having net area. If we are not having net area, it means that there will be no any rupture failure. So in that case, what we need to do, we only need to use the yielding criteria. We don't need to follow the rupture criteria. Why? Because we are not punching the hole. If no net area is available, there will be no rupture failure. So in welded connection, we have to determine area required only from one equation, which is the, I can say, yielding failure criteria. Then there are some other conditions along with the strength that we need to satisfy, B minimum. So connected leg, in case of riveted or fastener connection, the leg or the portion of the section that we are connected with gusset plate or with another member should satisfy this B minimum. It should have some minimum width. Why it should have some minimum width? So that we can accommodate the connection. I just have explained in last lecture. So if the bolts or the fasteners are provided on both in transversal direction and also in horizontal direction, maybe in vertical leg and also in horizontal leg, then in that case B minimum is 3.25D plus 18 and minimum value should be 50. So B minimum width of connected portion or the leg should be more than 3.25D plus 18. If the connections are provided only in one side and no bolts or fastener is provided in perpendicular direction, then B minimum is 2.5D plus 16. So width of connected portion should be more than this. So at the start of the design, we haven't designed the connection. So it means that the diameter of the rivet is not given. In that case, we may assume a rivet diameter 15 mm for the computation of this B minimum value. And we can also use another criteria, which is L by 40. The L by 40 criteria is based upon experiences, and it says that if the length of the member is between 2 to 3 meters, then B minimum should be preferably equal to span divided by 40. And if we are using the welded connection, so in case of the welded connection, we are not punching the hole. So the minimum width of connected leg or connected portion of section should be 50 millimeters. So this is the strength criteria, and this is the practical criteria to accommodate the fastener. Again, we are having stability criteria as well. So stability criteria is slenderness ratio should be less than equal to 300. That I have missed here, so I will write here. So what we do, we select the trial section. So we need to select a section based upon the following criteria. So actually in the field, we need to select the section among the available sections. Maybe in the market, there might be only 10 section available. So we have to select the section from that 10 available section. But for our practice, we are having number of steel sections available in LRFD manual. So for our practice, what we will do, we will consult LRFD manual steel section property table, whether we want to select the channel section, I section, or angle section. So if we want to select, we need to satisfy these conditions. Area of selected section should be equal to or more than required. Section should be of minimum weight and smaller size. So first of all, we will check 4 and 5 trial section. So out of 4 and 5 trial section, we will only select that section which is lighter in weight and whose area is just equal to or more than A required. If area required is 500, so a section is available whose area is 520. But instead of selecting a section whose area is 520, you have selected a section whose area is 600. Then your design is not okay. Your design is wrong. So you may not get full mark because you have selected an uneconomical case. So it means that as a designer, we need to select a cheapest or lighter weight section for the economic concern because we need to satisfy the economy. So section should be of minimum weight. We will learn when we will design. We will start designing any particular member. The connected leg width should be more than B minimum. We need to see the compatibility of connection with other member is to be provided. We need to check whether the member that you are selecting can it be connected with the other parts or not. So for example, if in a truss you are using all angle section, then we should not select a single member, maybe W section, because in W section we need to provide 2 gusset plates. And sometimes we have to see we should not select a pipe section because it cannot be riveted or fastened with the gusset plate. So I will show you one picture maybe at the end of this lecture. So we have to check this thing. And another criteria for tension member is that slenderness ratio should be less than equal to 300. Okay, after selecting the section, once it is similar to the capacity analysis. Capacity analysis is that we know the section type, area is known, geometric properties are known, that we can easily determine from LRFD, design it from section properties table. Then next is that we need to determine the capacity. So capacity analysis is the integral part of design. So after that, we need to check this capacity of the section, whether the capacity is more than factor load or not. Okay, now in that case, we can determine the capacity by considering the yielding criteria. So capacity in yielding will be phi t Tn is equal to 0.9 Fy into area of selected section. So Fy is the yielding failure, or we have to use the yield limit of material strength. Area we already know from the section properties table. This phi is the strength reduction factor in yielding criteria, phi TTN. So if we are dividing by 1000, so this is phi TTN and this should be more than TU. And similarly, we need to determine the capacity in rupture or fracture. In fracture, phi value is 0.75. In fracture, it means that we have to use ultimate strength limit. And actually here, we know the area of selected section. So if we know the net area, so net area can be multiplied with U value. So because we know the actual section detail, so we can multiply the net area with U value, because here we have to use the effective area. If connection detail is given, we can determine net area. So we need to determine the capacity in rupture. So both capacity in yielding and rupture should be more than fractured load. If this is not satisfied, then we select a section with higher area. So this is the capacity check in ASD. Okay, after that, actually we need to check the slenderness ratio. So slenderness ratio is determined by length of the section divided by R minimum. So R is the radius of gyration. So R minimum is we have to use the radius of gyration lesser out of Rx and Ry. So Rx and Ry, these values for any particular section, single angle, single section, we can pick from LRFD manual. So it means that if we are having channel section and T section and I section, then a member will always buckle about the axis for which the radius of gyration is minimum. So we have to check that whether Rx is minimum or Ry is minimum. But in case of single angle, the single angle neither buckle about x-axis nor about y. Rather, it buckle about another axis, which is inclined to Rx and Ry. We are referring as Rz. So for single angle section, Rz will be the R minimum. So R minimum is the radius of gyration corresponding to axis about which any particular section will buckle. So we need to check for the built-up section. Actually, we need built-up section. We need to determine Rx and Ry, because from the section properties table, these are only for single angle section. For built-up section, we have to check Rx and Ry value. And if the slenderness ratio is less than 300, so again, the section is stable. So B minimum criteria is also need to be checked. And fatigue check we actually do not directly apply, but we assume that the fatigue cycles, the fatigue life is more than 20,000 cycles within 25 years of service life. So we just simply write this line. So at the end, what we do, we design the lacing. Lacing for the built-up section, if the section is built up. So here you will know that, for example, this a typical example, we are having two channel section, flanges inverted inside. We first of all, from the edges, on the both ends, we are connecting this channel section with N-type plate, with some plate, which is provided on the both sides, maybe for on this side and also on this side. And how we are connecting? We are punching one hole here, one hole punch, we punch one hole in this plane, and then we connect the plate with the help of fastener. And similarly, on the other end, we are also punching hole on the flange on the other side, and we are providing plate on other side as well. So these are the boards along the length, and these are the boards along the cross section, perpendicular. So at any cross section, for example, if you see this correction, this cross section, so four boards are present or four fasteners. In each flange, in each channel, we are having two fasteners, one in each flange. So here, if I'm cutting this section here, for example, I have shown here. So at any section, four fasteners are there. One here, one underneath, one here, and one and flange which is on the back side. Okay, here how to design this N-type plate. Width of this plate will be equal to total width of this channel section after joining them. Then this length, we have to determine the length which is along the length of the plate. So S is the distance from center line of the hole on one section to the center line of the hole on other section. So S is the distance, which is the center to center distance in transversal direction from the center line of the hole. So if we know the S value, so thickness is taken as S by 50. Whatever is this S spacing of the center to center spacing of bolt or fastener in transversal direction divided by 50. And we round to the nearest multiple of 5 millimeter. And then the length means from here to here in this direction. So the length of this N-type plate will be considered as a 2 by 3rd of S value. And then we, from a intermediate portion or from the center, we connect both channels by in triangular pattern by thin flat steel plates, which is called lacing. So design of this lacing we will learn in our compression member design. So where S is the distance between line of weld or fastener on two components of built-up section. The longitudinal spacing of weld or fastener at end type plate should not be exceed 150. So he says that the spacing of fastener pitch along the length from center from this center to this center should not be more than 150. So we will satisfy when we will design end type plate. And after we have to design the connection after the completion of design. And once we know the connection detail, we can apply the block shear failure check for the block shear. And if the capacity in block shear is more than factor load, design is okay. If not okay, then we modify connection detail. And if all the checks are okay, we clearly or highlight our final check. Okay, here, this is the example. So in this example, actually we want to determine the capacity of a built-up channel section. So in this built-up section, so what is the difference? Actually, we do not know the geometric properties. Geometric properties mean that moment of inertia or radius of gyration of built-up section. Just from this example, we learn this concept. So first of all, we need to understand this statement. Calculate factored load capacity of a double channel section member of 836 steel. 836 steel mean that Fy is 250 megapascal and ultimate strength or Fu will be 400 megapascal according to AISC LRFD specification. Length of the member is given 5 meters and the member and consists of two channels. Two channels, 200 is the nominal depth and 20.5 is the unit weight. Designation of channel is C200 and 20.5 with flanges turned out just like this way. So in the previous case, so the flanges were facing each other. But in this built-up section, the flanges are turned out with a clear gap of 100 millimeter. Clear gap means the gap between their web from outer face of this web to the outer face of the web of other section, which is given 100 millimeter. Assume that there can be as many as two 15 millimeter rivet at any one cross section, one in each flange. So it means that in each flange we have punched one hole, or in one section we have punched two holes, and corresponding to built-up section we have punched four holes at any cross section. That is similar to this. So if we are connecting, so why we are punching one hole here, one hole here to connect the entire plate. Similarly, we are punching one hole here and one hole in this flange to connect the entire plate on the other side. So it means that if I'm cutting any cross section, so at any cross section there might be four holes, or in one section we are punching two holes, and these are not staggered. It means that along the length and along the transversal direction, so the center line is passing to the same longitudinal axis or transversal axis. So we are not having any staggering arrangement. So it means that we don't need to convert this flange into the flat plate, just like we have done in our previous example. Okay, other thing is that he says assume two value shear lag factor he has given already. You assume shear lag factor 0.8. So area of this section. So first of all, if you are opening the LRFD manual, in LRFD manual, I believe the page number might be 50. Page number, section is 200. So page number 68. No, actually that is 65. Sorry. The 200 and yes, page number 65. If you are opening the page number 65 on LRFD design aid, so on page number 65, so you may see that channel sections they have provided in 5 groups. So in the last group, and we are having 3 sections. So middle section is C220.5. If you will check the gross area of this one channel section, so it is written 2610. Similarly, you can also see nominal depth is 203. Flange BF is 59. You can write it down. Flange thickness 9.9. We require it. You will see. Web thickness we might not require. And then we need X bar. X bar is the distance, centroidal distance, X bar. So distance of the centroidal point in X direction is 14. And we might need moment of inertia about y-axis, which is 63.7, and about x-axis is 1500 into exponent 4. Radius of gyration about x-axis is 75.9, and radius of gyration about y-axis is 15.6. Okay, next time I will add this table also, maybe in my slides. So if you have picked the values, okay, next is that actually we need to determine the capacity of this section in yielding and in rupture. So first of all, if I want to determine the capacity, so phi t Tn, capacity is lesser out of yielding failure criteria or rupture criteria. So in yielding, phi t Tn is equal to phi t Fy into gross area. So phi value will be 0.9 in yielding failure criteria. Fy is 250. So gross area we know. Area of the one channel is 2610. So combined area of two channel will be 2610 multiplied by 2. If we are dividing by 1000, so that will be capacity in yielding, which is 1174.5, 1174 and 0.5. So in what I can say that in rupture criteria, capacity is equal to phi t Fu into AE, effective area. So effective area is converted in terms of net area by multiplying with the U value. U value is provided to us 0.8. So net area we need to determine. Why? Because we are given the connection details. We have provided the information that at any section we have punched 2 holes in each section. So in each one channel. So it means that we know the gross area of one channel minus n into d plus 3 into thickness of connected portion. So this is the net area of one channel. So we are not having staggering connection detail. So net area can be determined gross area minus n d plus 3 into tf. So here the thickness we have to use tf. Why? Because we are punching hole in flange. So it means that in order to compute net area, we need to subtract the flange area or hole that we have punched in flange. We have to use the flange thickness, 9.9. And that you can consult LRFD manual, page number 65, just like I have told you. So net area of built-up section will be multiplied by 2 because we are having 2 channels. So here The net area is 4507.2 millimeter. So we have substituted the value of net area over here. So dividing by 1000 just to convert the answer into kilonewton. So capacity is in yielding is 1174.5, in rupture 1081.7. So capacity in rupture is less. It means that in this section rupture will occur before yielding. So the capacity is the lowest answer out of these two cases. So capacity in tension is 1081.7. This means that we can apply the load on this section less than equal to this value. So maximum safe load that we can apply without any rupture or yielding failure is 1081.7. Okay, next is that we have to determine the slenderness ratio. We need to check whether the slenderness ratio is less than 300 or not. So in this case, let me tell you, for the built-up section, for any built-up section, RXB mean that, let me modify a bit for you. So yes, and in this case, this is supposed to be RYB. Okay, here, radius of gyration of built-up section will be exactly equal to the radius of gyration of single angle section in x direction. Why? Because, for example, you can see that this is the center line of built-up section, centroid of built-up section, and this might be the centroid of single section. So x-axis of single section and built-up section, they are passing from the same axis. So it means that in that case, the radius of gyration of single section and built-up section will be same because they are sharing same x-axis. So you know that R value is moment of inertia divided by area. So if you will determine Rxb, so you need to multiply the area of, sorry, you need to add the moment of inertia of two channels about x-axis. Then you need to divide the combined area of the two channel section. Then you will have the same Rx value. So normally, if you check the Ry, so Ry value of single channel is very less. Maybe in the table page given page number 65, Ry value is 15.9. So this is the reason I told you that actually if a section is having moment of inertia about one axis very small, but along one axis very large, so we make a built-up section so that we can increase the moment of inertia or radius of gyration about weak axis also to the comparable to the other axis. Actually, what we can do, we do not know the moment of inertia or the radius of gyration of this built-up section about y-axis. So what we will do, we will use the parallel axis theorem. Parallel axis theorem means that if we know the moment of inertia of this single channel about its own y-axis, which is 63.7 into exponent 4, this value we can pick from section properties table for this particular section from the page number 65. So this 65 is the moment of inertia of this single channel about its own y-axis. But we need to transfer this moment of inertia from y-axis of this single channel to the y-axis of built-up section by parallel axis theorem. So this will be equal to moment of inertia of single channel plus area of single channel multiplied by the difference of two y-axis. Which two y-axis? The y-axis where we know the moment of inertia to the y-axis where we want to transfer, which is the distance in x direction. Okay, here distance from the centroid of this channel to the edge of this web of channel section is the x bar or centroidal location of this single channel in x direction, which is 14. That we can also check from page number 65. And then distance from the edge of this flange to centroid is 50. Half of it will be 100 because we know the clear gap between channels. So distance between centroid of built-up section to the centroid of single channel is equal to 50 plus 14. So A r square in x direction. So if we are adding up and multiply with 2, why multiplying with 2? Because we also need to transfer the moment of inertia of the other channel about the centroidal y-axis, so which is also identical. So we are simply multiplying it by 2. So I believe that you have already done this practice in your basic mechanics course. So it means that this is the moment of inertia of built-up section. So moment of inertia divided by, so let me further uh, make this equation simplify for you so that you will properly understand. Actually, this equation is equal to, so I can say that this is I y b into area of built up section, or to combine. So it will be more appropriate here now. So here, radius of gyration can be computed. Moment of inertia of the built up section divided by area of built up section. So I y b we have computed here. Area of built up section will be summation, or if we multiply the area of one section with the 2. So when we are determining RYB, which is 65.88. So R minimum is lesser out of RYB and RXB. So RYB is minimum 65.88. So it means that R minimum we have to use 65.88. So length divided by radius of gyration, which is minimum. Length we need to convert into millimeter divided by 65.88. So slenderness ratio is coming 75.9. So this value is less than 300. So this is also okay. Okay, also need to check we are connecting each section through its flange. So what is the width of the connected portion? So connected portion is flange. So from the page number 5, this value is equal to BF value. So BF value is 59. Check that whether this value is more than B minimum. So B minimum is 2.5 D. D, if it is not given, we can assume as 15 plus 16. So this answer is 53.5. So 59 is more than B minimum. It means that we are having sufficient width available to provide this fastener. While we haven't used 3.25D plus 18 because no fastener is available or provided along that. So we will assume that the fatigue life is more than 20,000 cycles. So factored capacity will be equal to 1081.7. So we need to check slenderness ratio, B minimum also, and also capacity in rupture and yielding criteria. So at the moment, if you are having any question, you can ask me the question. I will give you some time for the question. So yes, Uzair Shafiq, please ask.
सर हमारा ये जो एक्चुअल इफेक्टिव एरिया होता है और नेट एरिया, इन दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है मेन?
Do you know what is the shear lag factor?
सर ए ई ओवर शायद ए यू होता है।
No, I do not know.
ए
I'm
एन।
just asking. I'm just asking what is the U value and why we use it.
ये एरिया रिडक्शन फैक्टर होता है एक्चुअली।
Okay, please hold on. I want to ask some other person. You will know the answer. Okay. Anybody else who is having question? Uzair, I will respond later, just in 2-3 minutes. Okay. Please raise the hand if anybody is having question. If anybody is having question, raise the hand other than Uzair. Yes, Bilal Mirza, what is the question?
सर ग्रोथ सेक्शन और नेट सेक्शन में क्या फर्क होता है सर?
कौन से?
सर ग्रोथ सेक्शन और नेट सेक्शन।
ग्रॉस GROSS ग्रॉस एरिया, ग्रॉस नॉट ग्रोथ। इसका मतलब आप पहला लेक्चर ले रहे हो आज? हैं आज पहला लेक्चर ले रहे हो? पहले लेक्चर में प्रेजेंट हो आज? बाकी लेक्चर में लगता है सो के गुजरा। चलो अभी तुम्हारा भी आंसर देते हैं। वी हैड Okay, anybody else is having question? Raise the hand. Anybody else?
सर मैंने एक और क्वेश्चन पूछना था।
अभी नहीं, तुम्हें पहले का नहीं पता यार, तुम्हें आगे क्या बताऊं, तुम्हें बेसिक ही नहीं पता अभी। बाकी क्लियर करूंगा फिर आगे तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन लूंगा अभी तुम्हारा।
ओके सर।
ठीक है, तुमने भोंगा ही क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया यार, सारा वो जो पढ़ाते रहे हैं, इसलिए तुम्हें सब सेंड कर आंसर देना है। ओके, हसन जैन, आर यू देयर? हसन जैन, हसन जैन। यस सर। तुम्हें पता है ग्रॉस एरिया और नेट एरिया में क्या फर्क है?
सर ग्रॉस एरिया होता है जो उस चैनल का जो वैसे टोटल एरिया होता है, और नेट एरिया होता है जहाँ से हमने वो बोल्ट किया होता है, होल किया होता है।
Okay, close your mic. Okay, first of all, now I am asking the question. Anybody who know the answer, just only that student raise the hand. First of all, what is the gross area? Any student who know the answer, raise the hand. Gross area. Gross income. Yes, Farhan, please let me know. Farhan. Farhan, open your mic and answer me.
सर टोटल एरिया होता है सेक्शन का, इंक्लूडिंग दी होल्स।
अच्छा, इसमें लेसिंग, कैन वी इंक्लूड लेसिंग एंड एंटी प्लेट एरिया इनटू द ग्रॉस एरिया? Farhan?
नो सर, आई थिंक नो।
No. Yes, that is the area which is available throughout the length. So any discontinuous portion available, we ignore that area. It means that that is the area of the section available throughout the length, ignoring anti-plates and lacing, and ignoring also the area that we have punched in the hole. Okay, next, what is the net area? Anybody else who know the other than Farhan and Uzair Shafiq? Raise the hand. What is the net area? Yes, Umar Malik, please let me know what is the net area and why we need to compute.
सर जब हम किसी क्रॉस सेक्शन में नेट और रिवर्ट पंच लगाने हो तो जो होल पंच करते हैं उसकी वजह से जो एरिया रिड्यूस होता है उसे हम नेट एरिया कहते हैं।
Okay, how? Okay, very good. How to determine net area and where we use the net area? Just let me know. Farhan. Okay, good. Next is what is effective area? Anybody else who know the answer? What is the effective area and why we determine? Yes, no, Bilal Mirza, no you. तुमने पहले ही सवाल मुझसे बड़ा भोंगा पूछा है। Anybody else who know the? Don't hesitate. Yes, Ihtisham, please let me know what is the effective area. इंजीनियर Ihtisham, अभी इंजीनियर बन भी गए हो तुम। Ihtisham, yes. Yes, Ihtisham, I am asking you. I'm unable to hear you. Okay, let me explain, gentlemen. Actually, the gross area we have to use for the yielding failure criteria. And whenever we need to check the rupture failure, so for the rupture failure, actually, we need effective area, not net area. So why we need effective area? Because effective area is the area that we obtain by multiplying the net area with U value or shear lag factor. So shear lag factor is the net area reduction factor, or that is a factor that we use to increase the stresses in order to consider stress concentration and eccentricity in connection. So U value will always be used when we are using overlap joint or whenever there is eccentricity or stress concentration. Actually, in rupture criteria or in the rupture strength formula, we have to use effective area. So effective area we directly are not given. So actually effective area is determined by multiplying U value with net area. So U value can be determined as per efficiency of joint. We have already discussed the formula 1 minus x bar over length. Or we can consult page number 98 on our LRF design aid. And next is that it means that in order to determine the effective area, we must know net area. And net area, how to determine? Net area if we are subtracting area of hole that we have punched at any section. So actually, in order to determine the rupture strength, we need effective area, but effective area will be determined from the net area, and net area will be determined from gross area. So this is the procedure. So kindly review the previous lecture. You already have book available with you. So on the book, all the examples are solved, all the definitions are given. And I have already sent you the video recording of lecture. So please try to consult. So inshallah, I will see you maybe at 1 p.m. today for our design class. So till then, Allah Hafiz.